On top of the world, sitting on the throne, king of Chevys in my lap is a two-door Brougham. Hey, hey, West Coast, sitting on top of the
world. Welcome. Once again, another episode of the King of Chevys Presents. I'm Tweet.
And I'm Fuzz.
I'm Anthony.
We sitting down with my homie, my brother from another mother, Anthony, the owner of Homies Hydraulics, responsible for many smash hits that's out on the street many years ago and today. What's going on, Ant? What's happening?
I'm good. How you doing?
Man, I'm
Fuzzy.
All right.
oh, blessed, man. So, how's business these days?
Just trying to keep it going after the fire. We're still doing it.
Well, that's good, man. It's like I'm happy that it wasn't no lives lost.
No, everybody's good. Nobody got hurt. Everybody got out.
That's cool. So tell me what's going on with Big Ant these days. What you working on, man? What you working on? Man?
Working on a 59. It seems to be the car. The car.
Tell him again. What? What? You're building a what? Let him know again.
59 Chevy.
Okay, hard top or rag?
Oh man, it's got to be a rag.
Oh shit! The hard top. You couldn't have a convertible unless you had a hard top first, because that's what the concept car even come with.
Yeah.
So you can't frown on the hard top, man.
Hard tops are cute.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
It's just not for you, right?
It's not for me.
Okay. So it's coming along pretty good.
It's coming along. I'm almost done. Just gotta redo the mufflers. The mufflers were ready, but once again, they're in the shop in the fire, so I kind of got a couple things I got to start back over with.
They got burned up in the fire too as well. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So my thing is, I wanted to ask you, man, when did you know? What age? About how old was you when you realized you was gonna be a lowrider?
Man, I grew up in Linwood. I think at that time, back in the it had to be in the late '70s. Every other house had a lowrider in the driveway.
Yeah.
Maybe they were on Kragers or True Spokes, but every car had a lowrider in the driveway. And one of the neighbors, he had a Firebird, and the Firebird, it was plushed out, it had shaggy carpet, and it had a TV. And I said, "Oh man, that has a TV in there." It was black and white and had ears coming out of the side. And I said, "Oh man, yeah." So, and then of course my brother, I have an older brother. He was in high school.
Ralph?
Yeah, Ralph.
Ralph a rider.
He had a 52 Chevy back. Oh, his first car was a Grand Prix, a 72 Grand Prix. My dad had gave it to him. And he used to drive that in high school. He put some Kragers on it and lowered it. And he had metal shop. Back then the schools used to have like metal shop, wood shop, stuff like that.
Exactly.
And he made some skirts.
You're trying to show my age, but I remember them days. Go ahead.
Yeah, they don't have that stuff no more.
Nah.
And he made some skirts for it, and he lowered it, and that was the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I remember, yeah.
And by how old would you say you then? About?
Man, I had to be about, maybe 7, 8.
Yeah. And that's the trip. We all get bitten by. I always ask people that question because, like I say, vividly, I can remember when I was like, I got to have me one of them.
Yeah.
Didn't know how I was going to do it, but had to have one.
So what was the first car that inspired you, like, to lowride, like, to take it to another level? Like?
First car inspired me. It had to be, it was all of them. I would say probably that Firebird, because it even had a phone in it. It had a phone, it had the cord on it, had the little twisty cord.
Whether it worked or not, it was a phone.
It had in there, yeah, it had a phone. And I think that was probably one of the first cars that I remember. And like I said, it was just a way of life back then. It was just what you grew, what you saw on the street.
So that's the car that made you be like, damn, I'm gonna lowride. I'm gonna be a lowrider.
I think it was all of them.
It was all of them.
All the
just
neighbors,
seeing them all together.
Together, driving up and down the street. And I think the first car I saw with hydraulics had to be, my brother Ralph also had a 52.
Yeah.
52 Chevy, fastback. It was lifted in the front only. He was still in high school, and I think that was the first car I saw with hydraulics. Yeah.
Have you ever had a lowrider bicycle? Remember the lowrider bicycles?
Yeah. Well, during all that time, growing up, he used to take me to back then it was Pacific. We used to go to Pacific. We used to go to Whittier. We used to go cruising, and I saw a couple bikes, in the back seat looking out the back window. I saw kids riding bikes. I said, "Yep,
Yeah, yeah.
I got to do something about that." And so, sure enough, I went home and I didn't have the spring actions and all that back then.
Action, yeah.
So what we did, we got the forks and we kind of bent them, so the bike would go down a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And being at that age, we got the shoe polish and we put shoe polish on them for the white walls. Yeah. And
Yeah, improvise. Shit.
Yeah, the improvise.
And see, the reason why I asked that because, growing up, seeing all the cars, like you say, because I did the same thing, seeing cars, driving them down the street, and each one had a different impact.
Oh, yeah.
And I notice a lot now, a lot of the young kids is getting back into lowrider bikes.
Right.
And that's the start of it to me. I think you can't afford a car, and you bouncing around, especially if you had knee accident, you're like, shit, I'm low riding, but you're on a damn bicycle, So that's why I asked you that. So let me ask you, why do you think, and I ask almost everybody this, that the culture, the lowriding culture and the classic car culture has sustained the longevity, been around as long as it has been, even though the negative connotations that people have put on them back in the days or whatever. Why do you think it have been around so long?
I think it's handed down from generation to generation. I think your kids and the kids' kids, and I know I have nephews that are probably about Fuzzy's age, and they grew up around it. So one of my nephews has a Cadillac, an 85 Cadillac. My other nephew, he had a Regal, but he's got a 57 hardtop now. But I think it's like I said, like we grow up with it.
Yeah, you grow up with it.
You grow up with go to the shows or to the boulevard, or that's it's handed down.
Well, let me ask you. Go ahead, Fuzz. Go ahead.
So where did you start? Obviously, where did you start working on cars at?
Well, I had my first car. I was in high school. I had a Malibu, 64 Malibu convertible, and it had hydraulics.
Yeah.
And my older brother Ralph, he gave it to me for my birthday. I think he did that because my father had passed away, and my father gave my brother his first car.
Yeah.
So I think he did that because I didn't have a father anymore. So in high school, which I kind of think was kind of wrong because I started messing up at that point.
You started messing up.
In high school, I was always driving the car. Well, it had hydraulics and they would brake.
Yeah.
And the only way to learn is, especially at that time with no money, you had to break it down and get into it yourself.
And figure it out.
So I did a lot of figuring out.
Well, this what people don't know. Me, Ann and I, we go back many, many, many years, I think I probably got you 2-3 years or some shit like that, or what have you. But me and Ann have been around each other for many years. Ann used to work for Orly's Hydraulics. For y'all who out there don't know about, rest in peace, Orly Hydraulic. He was like a pops to me. He helped condition my mind and just showed me nothing but a lot of love. So I met Ed even before he was working at Orly's. But when he was working at Orly's, I cut a two-door Broham. Well, I cut many cars back then, but one of them was a two-door Broham, and Ant was a pivotal part in that because Ant had a white coupe back then that was ready for the world. You know what I'm saying? You remember them days, Ant?
Yeah, just got out of high school and got a job. I started working at McDonald's, and from McDonald's I started working at Orly's. And so that's when I first started building up my credit. Bought a car. As soon as I got it, I cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't even paid for, but I cut it.
And it was clean.
It was cool. Well, back then they were still kind of new.
It was kind of new, you know what I mean? Who was really cutting Cadillacs like that?
Yep.
That was that fresh,
And what year was this?
It had to be like 86, 87.
Yeah, you guys are old.
Yeah.
Even a twinkle.
That's what my main man, Indio, he was just thinking about having Fuzzy,
I didn't even think about it.
He was thinking about having Fuzzy back then, So let me ask you something. Moving forward, at the time when you was working for Orly's, did you even have an idea that you might, even a vision that you might want to open up your own shop one day? What drove you to say, man, I'm going to open my own shop?
Well, there's a lot of stories with Orly, and Orly picked up and moved out of town. He went to New Mexico or Arizona
Yeah,
at the
Arizona, New
time.
Mexico.
And from there, I went to work at Magoo's Hydraulics, and I
Where's
worked.
Magoo's at?
It was,
Remember, I
it was-
left for a minute.
it was
Well,
off Park Street
Okay, okay,
in Bellflower.
okay.
But yeah, from there, I worked there for a little bit, and then my brother Ralph was working at Donavie Jeep Eagle, and at that time we just kind of talked one day, and he said he didn't like it there, and I didn't really want to be there, so we opened up a shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what year was that when you opened? When you decided to open Homies?
Uh,
And it was always Homies from the beginning,
Yeah,
or
it was always
it was
Homies.
always Homies from the
Yeah.
beginning?
It had to be like I want to say 88, 89, something like that.
You just said let's just do it.
Let's do it. And it was a little hole in the wall, little one bay.
Where was that at?
I was in Huntington Park.
Huntington Park.
I was in Huntington Park.
So let me ask you, man, I can't even count how many cars you done had, you know, or me myself, but wouldn't even think about it. But out of all the cars, so you done had many smash hits, man. I mean, many of them. And I this is my first question. I'm start asking everybody this, especially you, because you had multiple cars. Do you ever have a favorite? Did you have one that was a favorite?
I think one of my favorites was I had a 57 hardtop. It was orange. It was cut. I cut it. We went to the Southgate show one time, and an old man had it right there at the show. And I asked him, did he want to sell it? And he said, yeah, I'll sell it.
Yeah,
And followed him to his house, and I bought it.
yeah.
That was one of my favorites. My other favorite
Which car was that? It was just a car that you just.
It was a 57.
57
hard
hard
top,
top, yeah.
Oh, but not when you cut or nothing.
Yeah, it was cut. I cut it after.
Oh, okay.
But I think one of my other favorites was the Big Dipper, the blue one, the blue convertible, the one that came out in
Straight out of Compton.
straight out of Compton.
It was a 7?
No,
It
the
was a
64,
four.
the blue one.
Oh,
blue
yeah,
Ford.
yeah. The one accessorized up, that
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was one of my favorite cars out of all of them. Those two.
Do you ever miss them or regret it? Or have you ever sold a car that you like later seen that maybe somebody had tore up, or you're like, damn, I shouldn't have sold it, or any of that? Have you ever?
I think the 4 is one of them.
Is that right?
Yeah, because I had fun in that car. That car, it was for the street. It was clean. It did what it was supposed to do, and I had fun in it.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
It was a nice street car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what about, okay, so those who don't know out there, and is a proud member of Southside Car Club, y'all been repping, they just had a show, it was a show, this weekend?
Yeah,
Y'all,
this
y'all repped
weekend,
some
yeah.
cars up in there, huh?
Yeah,
How was the show?
All the good shows, a real good turnout. A lot of people from,
Did y'all rep, man?
of course we read.
Did y'all drive down there, man? What y'all do?
Well, I had the trailer because I had to take 10 carpets
Okay, well, you
and
can't-
poles and
Yeah,
lights.
we
and
understand that.
I had to take
For the
lights.
most part, they drove, huh?
Yeah, everybody drove out there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
even
But
cool.
but before you were in Southside, were you in any other clubs prior to that?
I was in Majestics for a few years. I was in Imperials for a couple years, and then from Imperials I went to Southside.
So you've been from Southside on.
Yeah,
From the inception, when they first started Southside,
about a year, maybe 6 months to a year after they started. Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah. You had this yellow 63.
yeah.
What, now,
Sundance.
So that's what Sundance. That's great that you would say that, because I was gonna ask you. Cause back in the days, people named, but it's so common now that damn near every car got a name.
Yeah.
You know, when did you think that got real popular? That everybody just wanted to put a name on the cars.
Oh, that's they do it for the shows at the car shows. So when they show the car and display it, they usually have a little show board, and they name their cars, and I've been seeing that for years since the RG Canning shows.
Yeah. Because I know down there everybody want to name their cars, and I be wondering the names that they come up with sometimes how it be inspired. You know what I mean? You like your 7, you called it 7 T's. How you come up with that name?
Because I fixed it up more like the cars were back in the 70s. They didn't have, it was just a nice street ride. It's the way I remember cars growing up.
Yeah.
That's the way I remembered it. So
Yeah.
that's where I came up with 7 T's, because it says 7 T's, but it's really supposed to be 70s. is what I was thinking. Yeah.
You knew that for us?
Nah.
See, we learn something new every day.
Yeah.
We learn something new every day.
Yeah, so that's where that came. And Sundance, of course, that was the yellow paint.
Yeah.
And then the murals, and that became the theme of that car. And then 5 on it. Well, that was because it was a 55.
Man, I missed that car, man.
Yeah, that was a fun car, too.
I was supposed to drive that car, man. And Fuzz, I went over to it. When they told me he sold the car, I didn't believe it. You know what I mean? I went over there and said, man, give me the keys to the 55. He said, they paid me already. So I said, man, give me the keys to the 55, man. I didn't get a chance to ride it. I wanted to ride that baby, you know?
Yeah.
That 55, man, was cold hit, man.
Thank you.
Cold hit. You responsible for some bad shit.
So do you plan on, now that the 59 is getting closer to the finish line, do you plan on building any other cars, or you're just, that's it?
Man, everything's just getting so expensive and crazy and almost out of reach for a lot of shit that it's going to be hard to even. I might build a street car. Although the 59 will probably end up being a street car after a little while.
You'll have no choice if you got me on your side, but that's another story.
Yeah.
So the 59, how long this process been building this car?
This car's going on like 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
it'll be done this year.
Was it a pretty solid car when you got it?
Yeah, I'd say it was like 80% solid. It had some rust issues in the trunk, but old Maestro took care of all that.
Well, it was a complete car though.
Oh yeah, it's complete.
Where'd you find the car?
On Instagram.
On Instagram?
Found the car on Instagram, and it was it wasn't that far. It was right here in Bellflower.
So what you think about all the hype behind the 59s now?
There's no hype.
No. I gotta ask him a question.
I'm helping him out on that one. There's no
What you
hype
think about
on.
all the hype about the 59s right now? What you think it is? Is it because of just
That's
the
the right
wings?
year.
Yeah, because it was a time I used to give them away.
Yeah.
You remember when I used to give them away back then?
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
So
I don't even know.
They must have heard Fuzzy was building one. That's why.
Oh man.
That's probably what it was.
so what made you say I'm gonna build a 59? You know, have you built a 59 before? You had a 59 before?
I never. Well, no, I never had one. I never. Had one.
But did you used to see them be like, damn?
Yeah, the homie Toto from Southside, he had a couple of them.
Yeah, I remember he had the gray one. The gray one was his,
Yeah,
right?
he had six side.
That was a badass 59.
And he had Cloud 9.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had
Cloud 9 was his too.
Yeah, that was his too.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I love that. 6i that's the one that made me want a 59.
6i.
Yeah. I love the colors.
It seems like the club, like they'll build 57s and show them for a little while, then they'll go to 58s, then we'll have a lineup of 58. So I guess 59 was the next in line because we're all building 59.
How many
y'all
59s you guys
59?
building right now?
We'll have 5 of them coming out.
559.
559, all rags.
Oh, that's gonna be nice.
So when do you
man.
plan on bringing yours out?
I'm thinking of bringing it out in. Original plans were for Super Show, but I think we're gonna bring them out at the Arizona show.
Well, we got to ride that weekend. Y'all know that, right? I know if I come down there and bless y'all, man, just to hang out with y'all and shit.
Yeah.
We got to ride that weekend, you know?
We'll ride. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
So break down your 59. What is it? Like, what'd you do to it? What'd you do different than you haven't done to your other cars, or?
It it's fuel injected, not the new fuel injection, the LTs or the LS. It's the original 1959 fuel injected system in it.
What made you want to do fuel injection? Just something different?
Just something different, something a little different, kind of rare. It's a rare piece on that car.
So you wanted to go with the headaches, huh?
Well, I had a 57 Fuelie before, and it was okay. You just gotta maintain it and keep on it. And
It was cut? Or you was riding, it wasn't cut?
that one wasn't cut.
Oh, well, shit, that's like driving Miss
He
Daisy.
had wire wheels on it. He had wire wheels
No,
on
he
it.
didn't have no wire wheels
He
on
had
it.
wire wheels on it.
No, he didn't.
Ask him.
I said it was a
not
car.
on a stock car.
He's right next to you. Ask him.
And you didn't have like.
He had wire.
It had wire wheels on it.
And it wasn't cut?
It wasn't cut. I never said a
Hey, y'all,
lowrider. I
I'm
said I had a car.
gonna give him a penalty, y'all. We're gonna talk about this later. You know what I mean?
Penalty.
You know,
How do you feel about that? How do you feel cars that have wire wheels but they're not cut? What's your preference on that?
Well,
Do you feel if you have a cut car, you can do that?
I feel, and I've heard this from Tweet before too. you gotta do you. If you can't do this or can't do that, now, I think if you do a car that represents you and what you can do, I think, and you're out there representing, I think you're a rider.
I agree because like I tell people, you know, me personally, you know, I always talk shit about when I see a person with some wheels, some Danes or
Because
zingers
he
on
used to
there.
ride with. I seen his shit. I seen like a photo. He had exhaust coming out the front tires.
Look at that camera when you tell me that
Exhaust
bullshit.
coming out.
Yeah,
Let me
he
see
had
that
exhaust
bullshit.
coming out the
Let
front
me see that
tires. I
bullshit.
wish I had the fucking picture.
Hey,
I want to
let
look for
me
the
see
picture.
bullshit.
So he had exhaust coming out the front tires, and he probably had white walls. Man, them motherfuckers are probably like 2 inches thick,
Did he have hair like this?
and the shit was in the dirt.
Hey,
And I'm like, homie, this is you?
listen,
And he denied it. He
One
said
thing about it-
that wasn't his shit, but
one
clearly that
thing
was
for
his
sure,
shit.
you cannot
I mean,
tell
I
him
get
none
it.
of that bullshit about me.
There's a
You
picture.
can-
There is
hey,
a picture.
hey, Ant,
You know what picture I'm
have I
talking
been
about?
repping that?
Is there
as long as I know.
Is there a picture out there?
Not of me.
Is there a picture out
I have
of your
nothing-
64?
That's why I asked Ant about was it a car that you had that you built and put together that you was like, damn, they fucking my car up. And but it ain't your car no more. It's like, wasn't my car then.
It's
Not
still-
my
it was-
car.
That was your creation.
It wasn't
How
my
do
car.
I don't
I
know.
don't-
I wasn't around at that time. You could have been with fucking exhaust in your front.
If I sell you my
I mean,
57 today,
why? Listen.
and you gonna put an
wait,
orange
wait,
top
hold
on
on.
it. Go ahead,
Why
I'm
would
listening.
they change your masterpiece? Why would they change? Why would they change it? Why would they put exhaust in the front?
Ask Charles Clayton.
Why would they put
Ask
fucking
Charles Clayton.
2-inch fucking
Remember the
white
black
walls?
tray?
I remember
Remember my black tray?
Yeah.
First set of motherfucking powder coat.
I don't know.
I should have patented that shit then, right? That man took that car, was up, was his tray on deck?
It was
Tray
nice.
was
It
perfect.
was nice.
Running, 13 front, back, wheel jump, glass back window, everything worked. He took that car, bought it from me, didn't have to touch it, but it's teacher's own. And when it made it his masterpiece by putting gold bumper guards, gold, whatever, you know, his picture. I had nothing to do with his decision. So if a person bought my
Did you
64,
ever see his purple 58? I think this is like
The one me and
I
Rick
think this
did.
is a mystery car because I've yet to see.
I'm pretty sure Ant remember that. That's when Orly was on Long Beach Boulevard. Remember when Orly was on Long Beach Boulevard
You ain't
across
seen it,
Century?
huh?
No, I ain't seen it.
And
Yeah. See,
reason why at that time you got to understand.
this is the only car that he doesn't have pictures of. Nobody has pictures of.
Rest in peace. Rick had pictures of it because as soon as I came
I
home,
don't know.
he like tweet, and I was like, nah, Rick, you keep them pictures. But anyway, everybody know that that's the 8 that inspired Tangerine Dream that was in my mama's garage for about 6 years before we built it, before Vic turned it over to Vic and let him build it. So everybody who really know, of course you wouldn't know because you wasn't born then. And when I had it, I was 18. So Aunt probably 15, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. So, you know, trust me, that was a smash.
I don't know.
And it was fully loaded. Like Aunt say back then, see, we was doing Lalo was doing our interior. He was on Century then.
Lalo.
Swivel seats, TV, you know, had that Remy Martin in the back in case you wanted to have
A
some.
little bar.
Other than your Chevys, did you have like any G-bodies, Cadillacs, bombs? Like,
Yeah, I had Cadillac. I had bombs too. I had a Cadillac. The Cadillac was first. Like I said, Tweet gave me some parts back in the days when he was updating his car. They were still new, but he
I forgot all about that shit, eh?
yeah.
Yeah. See, me and that go way back. Back in the days, people thought I was crazy for going to buy a brand new two-door Broham.
Yeah.
I bought it from Coast Cadillac in Long Beach, and I got a connection with a guy at Penske Cadillac, so he would send me notifications, and whenever they would come with something that was interchangeable for the next year
Yeah,
on my car.
The front ends.
The front end, all that, right? So when I would update my car, this is my brother from another mother, I would ask him, man, you want this? Because my shit, it was still new, but I was just updating it, making my car go with the year that was coming out for the next year that was interchangeable. That was some fun shit. That was some fun time, man.
Matter of fact, that dude at Penske you're talking about, he works at George Chevrolet still.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's still doing parts.
Is that right? The guy with the glasses, is that him?
No, you're talking about Steve. Steve at George Chevrolet.
Because I was just up there the other day, and I would like to. I would. What's his name? What's his name
I think it was
again?
Marco or something like that.
I'm gonna have to give him a flashback because he used to hit me up all the time.
Uh-huh.
Whenever they would update, and then I don't know if you remember when I first took it to get the 3,000 mile service, right? They didn't know I cut it. They didn't know it's front and back. So when I pulled in and I raised it up, they was like in awe, like, what the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they serviced my car, what have you. And then the guy went and talked to one of the owners or managers or what have you and was like, hey, man, is it okay with you if we put this car on our showroom floor and you can profile it? I was like, man, I got to think about that. I said, I know for sure it can't be on no Sunday because I ride on Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was some cool shit. And then what they was doing, that guy, what he used to do was like all the gold packages and all that, he used to like, look out for me. Because my car wasn't a 5.7 liter, but when that little 5.7 liter came out, when they did come in, man, they coming with this.
So you was faking.
No, I wasn't faking. No,
That's faking.
It ain't a faking bone in my body, but you know what I'm saying? That was some cool shit, you know what I'm saying? And then, of course, it had, my car came with touring suspension, right? So they came with that shit. Even though it's front and back, I did some touring in it. You dig what I'm saying? In case you didn't know, you know?
Yeah.
So go ahead and finish the telling us about your Cadillac.
Yeah, the Cadillacs. Well, back then, everybody was doing Cadillacs back then. Everybody was putting 4 pumps in them. They were putting 14 batteries in them. Hyro and all them. That's when they started with their Cadillacs back then too. But I remember one time we were on Long Beach Boulevard over in Compton by the swamp meet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember one time it wasn't my Cadillac. It was Topo's Cadillac. It was pink.
Yeah.
And I remember we went through there one time, and that thing was, I think they were supposed to do.
It
that
was
day.
swinging?
It was swinging that day. All you saw, I saw a couple videos, and I guess I was way back there, and then all you see is headlights in the bottom of the car. Yeah, I remember that video. That had to be back in the mid '90s.
So let me ask, you have children at?
Yeah.
So how have low riding impacted them? Do they like low riding?
Nah, they don't. They're not even.
Oh,
into
your children like my son. He don't give a damn about.
No.
You know.
Maybe my daughter. She likes going to the shows and she likes the scene, but she's not into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She'll go hang out, but then halfway through a show or halfway go with their friends.
Like, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. Yeah.
Let me get the hell up out of here.
And you had some rag Cadillacs, right? How many rag Cadillacs did you have?
Oh, I have one.
You had one?
Yeah, I have one. Yeah, that was Bow Down. Yeah, it was a blue one. It was an 81.
What year was that you had that one?
Man, probably mid '90s, late '90s.
And where did that one go? Went to Japan?
I went to Japan. Yeah, I went to Japan. Most of my cars went to Japan.
How do you feel your cars being overseas? Like how does that?
Well, I never really thought about it because at that time, it was about the money at that time. I mean, those cars were everywhere at that time. But you look back at it now, half those cars shouldn't have went over there because now you're looking for...
Do you regret selling some of your cars overseas?
Yeah. I probably regret the Sundance going over there.
Yeah?
Yeah. That one should have stayed here. But I had sold it to somebody here, and he sold it to Japan. So
Might have been a better move because honestly, it probably was. It's still clean out there, right?
Yeah.
Right to this day.
Yeah. Because I think
the car would have been destroyed here.
Yeah.
Because people it's like, to me, it seemed like they have a different appreciation and respect, being that they know it's not plentiful over there to just go find another car.
Right.
It's not. So how do you feel about how this culture, our culture, inspired them on every facet over there.
I remember the first Japanese guys to go over there was Taki and Oishi. They were the first ones that took cars over to Japan back in, man, that was about when Orly was there, about 86, 87. Yeah. And it caught on quick. And then after Orly left and I opened my shop, when I was doing cars, when I opened my own shop, I remember I was doing sometimes even 3 cars in one day that went to Japan. There'd be like maybe 9 cars in a week that would go to Japan. Reason being, there was a cutoff date, and the Japanese would wait until the last minute before they went and put it on the boat because they didn't want it sitting over there in the yard. So they'd all come at the same time saying they wanted their car cut so they could ship it, and it had to be done by this date. So, yeah, we
So you were making good money at that time.
Yeah, we were doing all right back then.
But the thing about it's good money, but it still work.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
You know, that's what people don't understand. You make it look easy.
Yeah.
That shit is work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So from the 90s, let's say from the 90s and now, how different is lowriding?
It died for a little bit. It died for a while. Yeah, there was times where there was nothing. We do maybe 1 car a week or 2 cars a week, where when the Japanese were there, like say we're doing 3 cars a day, 2 cars a day. But I'd say like late 90s, early 2000s, it slowed down. It dropped quite a bit. There was nowhere to go. There was no really. I think probably after Zeus died. When Zeus died, because Zeus was throwing all the shows at the schools, at Veterans Stadium,
Vegas.
Zeus was giving us something to do, and then it just died. There was no real shows to go to.
So you were in business for about what, a good 10 years, but it was real slow.
Real slow. Then I got a job at the ports. I started working there to keep the shop going.
So when did it start to pick back up?
Recently.
And why do you think that is?
You know, let's back up a little bit. There was a little bit of time there, like when my brother was Brother Ralph again, he was working at Lowrider magazine, and they were trying to spread it around the country. So it picked up a little bit because, you know, it had its up and downs, and it got more diverse, I think. So it wasn't just a neighborhood thing anymore. It started spreading to back east.
Dubai or Australia or whatever the case might be.
Dubai, yeah. So that got good a little bit, but then it started dying down again. I think when the COVID hit, I think that's when a lot of the cruising and a lot of the parks started happening again.
Everybody thought they was finna die.
Or something.
Everybody thought they was finna die.
Yeah, everybody was cruising again, and everybody was going to Whittier was happening all the time, every other.
So how busy are you now?
I'm doing probably,
Back to how it was back then?
yeah, probably like
Or more.
3 cars a week.
Yeah.
I need my cut then. I need my cut, man, because reason why? Because I remember dudes wasn't even want to cut a car. They was talking about their cars too clean to cut.
Well, I will say, when you came home, I'll say a lot of the guys that were riding the bikes, they all jumped back in their cars again.
Oh, they jumped back in their car?
Yeah.
Because I like, you know, my brother Jay, he had, shout out to Jay, my bro. He had so many cars, man, when I was away, and I was just like, man, keep that one put up. Put this one up. Or put that one up.
Yeah.
When I touched down, he didn't have a car. He would
had a
have
lot of bikes.
If he would have had one car, we might not be sitting here today because I would just cut that and got to rolling, you know.
A lot of them guys, they all went to bikes.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
Even though the bikes, I mean, you know, of course, I ride bikes. It's therapeutic. I bought my first Harley in '85, which I bought it from my brother. Then I, of course, bought a Heritage in '86. And all the guys used to tell me, man, that's some white boy shit. You don't, but now it's like a fad, which is cool. But I'm like, it's not about a white boy thing, a Mexican thing, a black thing. It's about your preference and what you like.
Right.
So on a spinoff with that, furthers this low riding culture in classic car culture, how do you feel it had a impact as far as race relations?
Well, like I said, at first it was a neighborhood thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, where I grew up in Linwood, Compton, so it was never a race thing to me.
Exactly.
It was never was. It was
Exactly.
just that's what I knew. And then, like I said, back in Nebraska, we got a guy in the club, Johnny Salters. You know, he's from South Carolina.
Hey, can't be messed with.
Can't even.
I hollered at him yesterday. I
Yeah.
wanted to catch him before he said he had to fly out this morning.
Yeah,
I didn't even
so-
know he was in town until he posted.
Right.
I didn't even realize the takeover show.
Mm.
Cause I we be working and shit, and until he posted, I was like, damn. And I hit him up because he showed y'all lineup, you know. And like I tell people, you know how you got people saying where it originated. I don't give a damn who originated.
Yeah.
I know I'm having fun with it. I know you and I been like this here. We ain't never had no conflicts. Always was
Right.
much love, and you know you can come to my house and eat. I can come to your house and eat. The family always took me in.
Right.
So you know it's just always been love. You know, and when I first started, when I bust the 4 out, Game Changer, the green one, nobody really knew we was working on the 64. They didn't even know we was finna bust the 57 out.
Right.
And you know, the shit I do, how long I've been doing that shit, man? How long I've been hitting switches and doing the shit that I do? I'm talking about just,
You do what you do.
I just do me, you know?
Yeah.
And it was always, you had dudes that was acting like I would pull up on some bodacious shit or whatever the case may be. And it wasn't about that. That's how we always, in our day and time,
That's the way it
saluted
was.
to each other.
That's the way it was.
We
yeah.
saluted like, that meant you could be on the going north and I'm going south, and we're in the middle of the intersection. That's how we like nodding your head. So it tripped me out how people was being so getting offended by that, you know. But now I'm glad to see them that everybody's in their switches.
Oh, yeah.
On a regular, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the way it was back then. And for a little while, people were battling at the hops and at the car shows and stuff, which is like Fuzzy's dad used to do that.
Yeah.
He was well known for hitting switches at the shows, but then the boulevard's where it's at.
Yeah.
The boulevard's where it's at.
Speaking of that, I know Fuzz want to hit you with, but speaking of that, what is one of your favorite all-time cruising boulevard parks or spot?
It's got to be Whittier. For me, it's Whittier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where everybody's at. You got the parking lots. If you want to hang out, you hang out. If you want to go cruise, you jump in the car, go up and down a couple times. When it's on, it's on.
When it's on, it's on.
Yeah,
For real.
but
for
when
real.
they shut it down, it's like anything else. It's time to go home.
You being a builder and knowing in the ins and outs of cars, who are your top 5 builders in your eyes right now?
Top 5 builders. Why, you
Good
want me to say
question.
you or something?
That's a good question.
I think you just want me to say you.
No, you can exclude me.
Okay, I think I will. Top 5 builders. I want to say
Because you've been around
Well-
from that time till now, so
everybody has their own style. Just because somebody does something one way doesn't mean I will, but doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. Like for instance, Chris Rourke, his cars, you can't take nothing away from every little nut and bolt, every little
the detail.
the
like
detail.
everything.
Yeah. And that's why he was Lowrider of the Year so many years. You can't take that away. It's not my style, but it is.
You
what
gotta
it is.
appreciate the
The work
what
and
it
effort.
takes to get
Exactly.
to that.
Exactly. Another guy that's really good, I think, is Johnny Salters, South Carolina.
Johnny Sauce is true.
Yeah, he's on the other side of the country, but he looks at things that California does or Texas does or whatever, and he runs with the ideas and
Flips it his way.
and he builds some nice cars, nice detail. Some of the other nice builders would be Manuel, rest in peace. All his stuff was nice and tight and perfect. Maybe
Rick, rest in peace.
Rick was another one. Just another builder that was innovative, set a lot of trends, a lot of things that the way things are right now are because of Rick.
And it's crazy because Rick, the car you have right now, Rick started to build, correct? The 57.
The 57.
Yeah, the copper one.
Oh, the copper one. Yeah.
He forgot even have a 57.
I had that car.
He forgot all about that 57.
Rick had started that car.
Oh yeah, Rick started that
Yeah,
car
he
before he
showed me
passed
that car
away.
when I touched that.
That was Big Mondo's car. Mondo had the vision. Rick was a builder, but Mondo had the vision, and there's a lot of little things on that car too that are trend setting. And it's up to
And
the
it's crazy
guy
because people wouldn't think
back then.
Yeah. So
Back-
that's what
That's
set
what I
Rick
said.
apart from everybody else.
Yeah, the
also.
trend
Well,
setting.
see, Rick was ahead of his game. I could speak just like I can speak on you personally because Rick and I built my 58 in 1985.
Oh, okay,
The
yeah.
purple and white one. And that's when he was living out
The one we
here.
ain't never seen.
And,
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
he and I, that's when I was blowing that shit. We used to smoke that shit and put the lime in the Coronas then. And be sitting there wrenching. And he and I shared the reason why we was so tight, man. His standards was just like mine. I'm
Yeah.
talking about he was meticulous. I'm talking to every bolt, every nut, It didn't matter. It had to be on point,
Mm-hmm.
And when I touched down, Rick, I ran into Rick and my brother. Remember, my brother had the shop over there by y'all,
Right.
Jay, and Rick knew my walk from the back, and he was used to ask Jay, man, when he coming? And Jay used to be telling me, oh, he'd be here soon. And when I was walking over there, I think he was right there next to Gordo, or be over there by Gordo and him, and he walked over and grabbed me like, what's happening? And that car was around that time, that 7.
Right.
He was messing with that 7 around that time because it was in one of them buildings.
Right.
And he took me over there to the building. I was like, damn.
Oh, yeah.
It was in one of them
Yeah.
buildings over
Yeah,
there,
it
the one
was.
you got now. I was
Yeah.
like, damn, this motherfucker is clean, Rick. And he took me back over there by Gordo's shop, rest in peace, and went through the photo album and showed the makers of my 58 Polaroid pictures, right? And I was like, damn, Rick, you still got all these damn pictures? He's like, man, here, you can take it. I said, nah, I'm cool, Rick. He said, you gonna build again? You gonna run? I said, nah, I ain't even thinking about it. But, fast forward to when we started working on Trendsetter, my 7. Had I knew at any point that Rick would ever be in because hindsight is always 20/20, any danger, I was told, Rick, come on, man, come hang out with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Fuzz and I was messing around then,
Okay.
building across the street. And when Rick was like, I know you're going to do this, and I was like, nah, I ain't doing nothing, Rick. I ain't doing anything. I know you're going to build a car again,
Yeah.
But, of course, that happened to him. But rest in
Yeah.
peace, Rick. That was my man.
Your top 5 clubs you love to see out lowriding.
Well, it has to be Southside.
Mm-hmm.
Southside and professionals. They're not out there too often, but
Not just
Yeah,
me.
you-
yeah. Well, just tweet. The rest of the guys,
Well,
I know them all. Yeah, see them at the barbecues. but-
I pull up. I represent 1,000. If they show up, we show up.
Yeah.
We building. We getting some shit together. We be pulling out in a minute.
Yeah. I know. What's fun to watch is individuals. They put on a nice little show when they're out there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. They're out there. Hyro and them guys, they put on a good show.
The whole individual family, they put on a hell of a show. You know.
Yeah.
They pull up and like Punchy was saying, when Hyro pull up, he pulls up. Of course, Big Dre pull up doing all that crazy shit in that 7 So they Majestic.
This is Anthony's top 5. This ain't your top 5.
No. Oh, you right.
Yeah, man, this ain't for you.
Yeah, I thought.
You want to
I thought-
answer this?
I-
I'm not interviewing. I'm
Anthony,
done interviewing you. That's
I
over.
thought you had already said
Nah,
5. Go ahead,
I'm
Ant.
done interviewing you. That's a wrap.
Oh, I didn't know I got interviewed.
Yeah, but it's fun to see them all out there. Like going back to the individual thing, as far as the car builders and stuff, and it's what the person sees. Like our 59s are coming out. We got 559s coming out. Yeah, but like Snoop has his way.
Each one has a different.
Chewy has his way. Oscar, of course, has something in his mind that he wants to do. So they're all going to be a little bit different, and that's what the whole lowriding thing is. Every car is different. Everybody has their own vision, because my vision's not the same as yours, but maybe the same as Tweet's, but not the same as yours.
Yeah. Speaking of that, okay, so how do you feel the younger generation? Do you feel it's headed in that the younger generation is taking it in a good step? Like they're taking over?
There's a couple guys out there like Phil, the pinstriper. He's a young guy. He's pinstriping, and it's good to see. Cheeto's doing upholstery that some of these older guys they can't do it no more, and some of the other guys have passed away. The ones that we used to go to and we used to know what their work was and how it came out. So it's good to see the younger guys, and even Vince. Vince probably knows more than I do now. And he's doing homies. Yeah, so I see there's hope. There's hope for us to keep going. But I don't want to say you.
Yeah, I'm young. I'm like 25. So.
Yeah, well, and that's very important because it's like a dying breed in a sense,
Yeah.
but because when we was younger,
You can go anywhere.
we was just but I'm saying even when we was 15, 16, we wanted to learn. We wanted to,
yeah.
I don't know if it's the video games and everything else
Instagram.
that they do, Instagram, the social media, all this different thing. It's like nobody wants to do no hard labor that they think is hard.
Right.
But once you get involved in doing it, and it's nothing like seeing something just come together, your vision.
Exactly.
Because like you say,
Mhm.
nobody see what you see when you're looking at that rust bucket.
Exactly.
Because I can remember when you bought the 55, and I came over there. I said, "Man, what you gonna do with this?" You say, "I'm finna do this 55." Now I'm looking at the 55. I like 55s. I've never thought about cutting one myself. I thought about hot riding one, but I looked at it and I seen it was a pretty solid car.
Yeah,
it
it
looked
was.
like light blue, right?
Yeah, it was light
something
blue.
like that, right?
Exactly.
But there's nowhere in the world. There's no way in the world I could have said, I even thought that car was gonna come out like it did. Even though I knew you knew what you was doing,
Right.
never thought that car. And I told you this before. There's not many cars. I'm looking at the camera. There's not many cars that I drive that's not mine that I didn't build or Fuzzy didn't build or anyone close to me didn't build that I would drive. And I would drive all ant shit. And I was kind of disappointed that I didn't drive the fucking 55. But really, that's some other shit. I'm still dealing with it right now, Yeah.
So let's take it back to how this fire started. What was going through your mind when you heard your shop was on fire? And where were you at? Like, well,
That was kind of a rough day, because that day I had a doctor's appointment. Well, I just got over COVID. I had COVID. I was down for like 3 weeks. COVID hit me hard. I thought I was, like anybody else, I was gonna die. I didn't know if I was gonna wake up the next morning or be rushed to the hospital the next morning, because during COVID it got a little progressively worse, but then it started getting a little better. Well, I just got out over COVID, and then I went to Kaiser because I had to renew all my prescriptions. They didn't want to renew them because I hadn't been there. So I had to go. I went, and I'm at Kaiser. They're that day they just put me on insulin. That day they said, "Oh man, you're diabetic. You got to put you on insulin." And so my morning wasn't going any good. And then I see on Instagram that
so that's how you first found out.
That's how I found out.
Your shop was on fire. Was on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Ain't that some shit?
And then, my brother was calling me, and then Vincent was
like,
calling.
Let me ignore Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph called me. He called me once or twice.
This
Vince
is
called
shop shit. I don't even want to deal with.
Yeah, because they were checking. I think they were checking.
It was
my
some
eyes.
shop shit for real.
Yeah, I didn't know they were having a fire sale, but I guess one of the cars, the car that a customer brought, he just replaced all the transmission lines and the gas lines and brake lines. So he thought he went through it, or the shop he took it to. I'm not gonna say who he took it to, but He took it to a shop, but I guess the gas line that they hooked up to the gas tank. Well, first of all, they ran all the lines with the body still on the car, so they weren't ran the way they were supposed to be ran. They just kind of
Yeah, because you can't. 'Cause
You
the
can't.
body's on top. Yeah,
body's
yeah.
on top. So when they ran it to the gas tank, it wasn't in correctly, but it was dripping just enough to accumulate in a little pocket. So when we were reinforcing the frame, the spark hit that little spot, went up, and gas. It just couldn't put it out. Can't put it out with water. They used like 11 different fire extinguishers trying to put it out, but it was on the rack, like one of these here, and the hose that goes across, when the fire hit it, it popped. So when it popped,
That made even more of the.
no, the emergency brake, the emergency
Oh,
locks,
the locks.
locked it, so the car couldn't come down. So the car was up, and the roof caught on fire. So it was just whatever can happen will happen. One of those things.
That was a tragedy.
Yep.
So when you seen it on Instagram, what is your thoughts like? Wait a minute.
Yeah, I didn't believe it at first. Yeah, I got to the shop. First of all the fire trucks and police cars, they didn't let me back there. I told them I was in my shop or whatever, and they said, can't go back there. There's propane and welding tanks and different kind of chemicals and stuff back there. We can't let nobody back there. And then it didn't really hit me that day till the next morning. I woke up and I said, I ain't got nowhere to go. I said, man, I've been doing
Yeah,
this
you've
stuff.
been going. You've been there. You were at that.
How long you been
spot
at
for-
that location?
At that location, I was there at least about 18 years. But I've had the shop, like I said, about 32 years. So that's the first day I woke up and said, doing it for 32 years, you get up, go to work, whatever. and this is
It's
first-
programmed. It's
it's
programmed
programmed.
in you.
First day, I had nowhere to go.
So that's when it hit you. Like,
That's when it hit me, not till the next
my
day.
shit is gone. Like that
Yeah.
shit is.
All my shit's gone. Next thing I thought it was, okay, what was in there? Who do I got? Who do I owe? Who do I got to replace? What do I have to do? Or that type of thing. And so just try to remember who I owed what to.
Yeah,
I just took you some money that day. I just.
Is that what-
we'll talk about it later.
Okay,
Off
all
camera.
right.
yeah. When I got you probably remember because I came over there and I seen you and Ralph there when I got wind of it, and man, my heart went out to you, man, because as you being my little bro, man, I'm like, damn. But most importantly, I hit Ralph before I caught you to make sure that wasn't no lives lost.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was, you know,
Yeah, that was the main thing.
that was the
yeah.
main thing, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, all the other shit is replaceable, but what you just said was running in my mind like, damn, I ain't been there forever. Hopefully, it could be salvageable. You know, can
Yeah.
salvage some shit where, you know, you can patch some shit up and move on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But of course, that didn't happen.
No.
So fast forward, moving forward, you found you another building and back up and running, right?
Well, I got a little spot with my buddy of mine because, well, here's another. Let me back up just a little bit before you fast forward. The fire department, police department, even the bomb squad went out there. They all said it was an accident. Well, of course, insurance, I had to hire a lawyer. They're saying negligence. So that's where I'm at with that. So the shop I'm in right now, I've been looking for a shop, something I want to do, and I kind of want to stay in the Paramount area.
Yeah.
But a buddy of mine said, hey, I got to, you find out who your friends are. A buddy of mine said, hey, I got a shop. I'm not using it. I store my boat in there. But if you want, because I went back for a week, we were cutting cars in my mom's driveway.
Wow.
That's kind of where we started. But
For sure.
so you go in full circle. So for a week or two, we cut like probably about 5 or 6 cars in my mom's driveway.
Yeah, old school.
Old school. And then, the buddy of mine told me, come on down, went down there, and we've been there for about 2 months now, but I'm still looking for something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, so you're still gonna branch out to?
Yeah, I'm still looking for a building, but nobody wants to rent to automotive. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I heard that. I heard they got a lot of them don't want no. I heard some of these places kicking automotive places, car shops up out of their buildings.
Yeah.
So what are you? When you come back, is it still gonna be homies? You gonna change it?
Nah, it's still gonna be homies.
Still be homies?
Homies is homies.
And how did that name come about?
Homie the Clown. Back in Living Color.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph's car came out in living color a couple times, and Homie the Clown was kind of big back then, and so that's where it came from, Homie the Clown.
Your brother Ralph, he was the editor for Lowrider magazine for a while, right?
Yeah, I think he was editor for, I want to say 8-9 years, something like that. Yeah, he was editor for a little bit.
Ralph been low riding for many years. He tried to be subtle, be creeping. He got that what's that? The Thunderbird now? He still got it?
That's a Lincoln.
That's a Lincoln.
Big old giant Lincoln.
He still got it, right?
Big ass Lincoln.
Yeah.
Because
Fucking boat.
Ralph let cars go quick as shit too. I mean, Ralph changed cars like you change shoes around here. You know? Yeah, that's cool. He been riding it.
Yeah, he rides he takes it out every weekend.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, somewhere,
that's
whether it's to
cool,
go
man.
eat or whatever. Kind of like what you do, go park in front of a restaurant and go.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to lowride with your nephew that you see grow up small to what it is now?
It's cool. He was. Yeah, I've always thought when there'd be one day when it'd be my two nephews, my brother and me, show at a show together, but that still hasn't happened yet. So that's one of my bucket list things.
It's gonna happen soon.
It'll
probably.
happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
You got two up the way.
Yeah, I got me and Vince went to that the Pico Rivera Sports Arena, so we showed once together. Yeah.
So we hanging out with that owner of Homie's Hydraulic, legendary.
What's your Instagram so they can follow you on Instagram?
At homies_hydraulics.
Hey, and we out of here. You know, this is another Smash Hit episode with our homie at. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.
On top of the world, sitting on the throne, king of Chevys in my lap is a two-door Brougham.